Ladies and gentlemen, a new version of Minecraft has been released. Here is Minecraft version 1.7 of the Bedrock version, and if you don't know what that is the version that you can get from the Windows 10 store on mobile devices on Xbox One and on the Nintendo Switch. The one with crossplay functionality and the Better Together update. Now this is version 1.7, a major update but without any actual major gameplay features. The features in this one are related to map making and there's also a ton of bugs. I'll be going through the most significant ones in this video, but there are many more smaller fixes, and if you want the full list, head down into the video description where you'll find a link to the full changelog. Let's start with the gameplay. In some worlds there were player permission issues that prevented you from building or mining. That has been fixed in this version. Also a bug with crouching on ladders. When you opened the pause menu or inventory screen, then your crouch would stop and you'd start sliding down. That's fixed in this version as well. Some block related things. Sea pickles now break instantly when mined in survival mode. Rails are once again broken by flowing water, and monster spawners will no longer drop as an item if you blow something up next to them. When swimming and moving the camera with touch controls, that will no longer cause you to break blocks around you. If you're in a boat or a minecart, then you can once again drop items, regardless of which control scheme you're using. And sometimes in old worlds at the old world height, at 128 blocks into the air or in the void, you could get stuck. That's fixed in this version. Speaking of the void, if you had a trident with a loyalty enchant and threw that out into the void, then it would get lost. That's no longer the case. The trident will now return to you. And more enchantment fixes. The looting 3 enchantment will once again increase the loot drop chances. If you have the knockback enchant on a weapon and deal a killing blow to a mob, then they actually get knocked back. And if you had infinity on a bow and drew the bow only slightly, then the arrow from that would be picked up immediately again. That's fixed in this version as well. Another fix for bows: if you have flaming arrows for whatever reason, then you can again use those to ignite minecarts with TNT on them. If you pick up a tropical fish with a bucket and then place it back down, then you will now get the same fish as the one you picked up, rather than a random tropical fish. And leads no longer detach and disappear when you close a world and then re-enter. Some mob fixes in this version as well. Mobs will no longer spawn in small gaps unless they can fit inside of them. That includes 2 block high mobs spawning in 1 block high spaces and endermen that spawned in 2 block high gaps with a slab above. Also, if you cure a villager zombie, then the resulting villager can now be traded with. Couple of fixes for creative mode in specific. Food can now be eaten in creative mode and on peaceful difficulties, even if you're not hungry. And spawn eggs can now be renamed to produce renamed mobs. Bunch of fixes for multiplayer specifically. In previous versions there was an exploit that would let you use a custom skin with invisible geometry, so you could essentially be invisible in multiplayer. That is fixed in this version. If you host it on a Nintendo Switch and switched the textures, then those textures would not apply properly on other platforms. That's fixed in this version. Split screen players wouldn't be able to join local network games hosted on Nintendo Switch either, and there were Microsoft account sign-in failures on Nintendo Switch. All of those have been fixed in this version. A new feature for multiplayer: if you equip a carved pumpkin as a helmet, then your player marker will now disappear from locator maps that other players are looking at. And one fix for inventories of mounts: if you're riding around on a mount with an inventory, then that inventory can no longer be accessed by another player. Some user interface fixes. Mentions of player names are now highlighted in yellow in chat, and if you type the @ symbol in chat, then it will show you an autocomplete list of all of the player names on the server. There were also some bugs with the inventory screen. In specific, items wouldn't stack properly when using touch input to move things into an inventory, and the cursor D-pad will no longer cause you to get stuck on the inventory screen or pause menu. Now, I mentioned features for commands and map making in this version. This version has the first little bits of the Scoreboard functionality that Java Edition has long enjoyed. More Scoreboard features will be added in later releases, but in this one you can start tinkering with scoreboards. There's a new game rule as well called Command Blocks Enabled, which, surprise surprise, can let you enable or disable command blocks. Bug fixes as well. Barrier blocks used to be able to be broken by ender dragons. That's fixed in this version. And the input in minecarts with command blocks didn't save between game session. That's fixed as well. If you cloned trapdoors, then they would lose their orientations, fixed in this version, and the teleport command will now properly teleport riders together with mounts. If you have a title on screen, you can now also set a subtitle properly. Add-ons have been updated as well. There are new templates for Minecraft 1.7.0 with new assets and behaviors, and you can get those from minecraft.net/add-ons, and you'll find a link to that in the video description as well. Finally, some marketplace fixes. It's now easier to find the contents that you've already purchased, as well as the search bar and the Go Home button at the top of the marketplace screen. Search results and sorting and filtering have been improved as well, and you can now send links to your favorite marketplace content using the share button. This video is actually a few days late, so by the time you're seeing this, this version has landed on all platforms. To upgrade to this version, head into your app store or any other place where you normally upgrade apps. Your system should automatically tell you that there is a new version to upgrade to and let you download this new version, Minecraft 1.7. And that was all for me from this time. My name is slicedlime, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.